All right, hey guys. Happy Wednesday, I believe it is. So yesterday we looked at this PowerPoint and I went through some examples with you on inequalities, which is exactly like an equation. There's just a different symbol that's there. So today we're going to continue looking through this PowerPoint. Once you're done with this PowerPoint and you've watched me do some examples and talk about some stuff, please copy down the notes for your notebook, which are attached, by either printing them or writing them in your notebook, and work on the 4 problems that I attached as well. Those 4 problems are going to be in this slideshow, but I wrote them on a piece of paper for you to print out, or you can write it on your own piece of paper and upload it to Classroom. So we're going to skip the word problems. We're just going to go right into some special cases, but I want to review what we did yesterday. So if we're solving these inequalities, the goal is to always get x by itself. Again, just follow my cursor as my pointer. I'm also going to be writing with it, so you can watch me do some examples. So you guys had practice with this yesterday where we were solving one-step equations. It didn't have more than 1 or 2 steps, I believe. But in this situation, I want x by itself, and there's a minus 15 on this side of the inequality, right? So it's not an equal sign, it's an inequality sign. So what I need to do is I need to add 15 to both sides to get rid of the 15 with the x. And the reason I add is because adding is the opposite of subtracting. So these two cancel. So you're just left with x being less than 88. Right? And so all you had to do is move this negative 15 over. If the number minus 15 is greater than 73, then the number itself, less than, then the number itself is less than 88. Because we took this and moved it over. Same thing here. So you would just you would subtract 15 again because we have plus 15. So you would do the opposite of that, and what you do to one side you have to do to the other. So y alone is less than, just seeing what we did up there, 10, because 25 minus 15 would be 10. Right, so if there's just one thing that's with your letter and you need to move it, that's simple, and that's some of the stuff that we did yesterday, and that was pretty easy. And so you'll see in this example here, if you had x divided by 5 equals 10, so if you had this right here, and you needed to get x by itself, sometimes this looks a bit more challenging than what we just did. However, it's still just one operation that we're doing. So instead of up here where we were doing the opposite of addition, which was subtraction, or the opposite of subtraction that was addition, all we're doing this time is the opposite of division, which we know is multiplication, right? So we're going to multiply. So it's still just one step that we're doing. It's just a different operation. So if we have x divided by 5 equals 10, then we just need to multiply by 5 so that this times 5 cancels this divided by 5. And both of these are now gone, leaving just the x set equal to 50 if you simplify that. So again, don't let this freak you out. You just have to do the opposite of whatever you see. And inverse operations is the first page in your notebook. So if you had 5x is greater than 20, if you had this original equation right here, inequality. If you had this one, the opposite of what we see is what needs to happen. So what do we see over here with the x? I see 5 times x. So what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So you'll see down here, they divided by 5. That cancels with this multiplied by 5. Those two are now gone. But what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So then they're just left with x is greater than 4. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Sometimes these simplify, sometimes they don't. You just got to check that. So that was some of the stuff that you guys did yesterday. You're just doing the inverse operation of what you see. So now something new that I want to show you guys. If your inequality is being multiplied or divided by a negative number, see right here, dividing by a negative number, then you have to switch the sign in the middle. So you see up here, oh, sorry, that's horrible. You see up here, it is a less than symbol. Negative 7x is less than 21. Well, when you divide by this negative 7 to get rid of it, and you do it to both sides, now look at the symbol. It has switched to being greater than. So it switches. And then you'll graph your solution. So since this is just greater than and it's not equal to, the circle is open. And you started at -3, and they did. You see it's right on top of -3. And then you go in the way that the arrow is pointing. So they went to the right. Just like that. So again, when you're multiplying or dividing and the number is negative, then less than is going to switch to greater than, and then vice versa. Greater than switches to less than. And then if it happens to be less than or equal to, it switches to greater than or equal to, and vice versa. Greater than or equal to switches to less than or equal to. So they literally just flip around. So in this example right here, it's the exact same if you're multiplying or dividing, the sign will change. In this original equation, inequality, I'm so sorry. In this original inequality here, we have -5 times x, right? So that represents multiplication. To undo that, they divided by a -5. But the rule is if you divide by a -5, your sign has to flip. You see how it flipped? The answer is -4, but the only thing you have to remember is to flip your sign. So right here, -x divided by 5 is greater than 2. Okay, so they multiplied by -5. You can take this, remember, there's never a negative symbol that's not attached to a number. So what's the invisible number that's right here? A 1. -1 times x. So you can make the top negative or the bottom negative. You can put it wherever you want. So they went ahead and took that negative sign and used it over here. And multiplied by -5. So they multiplied by -5. Multiply to cancel out this -5 here, and they do it over here. Oops. I'm dividing. That's wrong. And they multiplied by -5 over here as well. And that's how they got 10. But don't forget to change your sign. So you'll see that over here it started out as greater than, and over here it is less than. Now let me show you. I don't want you guys to be confused on why they multiplied by -5. So I'm going to try and do this. So up here, they could have multiplied by just 5, multiplied by just 5 to cancel divided by 5. So this divided by 5 and this times 5 both cancel. And then you're left with -x is greater than 10. And then again, imagine there's an imaginary 1 right there. So, and it's being multiplied to that x. So to undo multiplication, you would divide by -1. And you have to do it to both sides. Then that's gone. And now you have x, flip your symbol, less than -10. So you can do it step by step like that and get rid of the denominator and then divide away that negative symbol that's up top. But that's 2 steps instead of just doing 1. Just multiply by -5. You're essentially combining that, taking that negative sign and putting it down here instead of up top. Because we know that with a fraction, all right, the number that's up here is 1, the imaginary 1 that we can't see. If you have a fraction like -1/5, if it's negative, one of these numbers has to be negative and one has to be positive. You can either write it like this, or you can write it like this. It doesn't matter where that negative symbol goes, but one of the two has it. Because if they both had it, we know that 2 negatives is a positive, and it would actually be a positive fraction, 1/5. So we know that they both don't have it, but one of the two has to have it. So it doesn't matter as long as the top number is just a 1. You can bring it down to the bottom, and so they did. And so to cancel that -5, they multiplied by -5. That way you don't have to do 2 steps. Okay, so I'm going to do a few with you. These are more from yesterday, and then the ones for today where you're multiplying or dividing away a negative number and you have to flip it, that is going to be your work for today. So in this example, I need to get x by itself, so the opposite of +6 is -6 to both sides, leaving me with x is less than or equal to 1. So if I were to do this on a number line, oh wow, that's very bad. With 0 being here, 1 is here. I would put my circle at 1, and I'm going to go in the direction of this arrow, which is this way. Sorry, it's not picking up my motion. So I would shade and go this way. And because that symbol is less than or equal to, I need to fill in the circle at 1. Like so. That's a terrible line, but you understand. All right, the next one. 3 is less than or equal to x minus 5. So again, I'm just going to get rid of this 5. First, you have to find your variable. Whatever side of the inequality it's on, that's where you need to start, because there's things over here with it that we need to get rid of. Because I see a bunch of you guys starting over here and trying to subtract the 3 and bring it over this way. I don't want anything over here with my letter that I don't need to have. So we want to move everything away. So at this point, we have x. We have 8 is less than or equal to x. So I can rewrite this way to help me understand and see it properly. But look, it looks like the sign is flipped, but it's not. I just flipped the entire order, right? The open side right here, this open side is facing my x, and it's pointing to my 8. Well, over here, it's still pointing to the 8, and the open side is still to the x. So I didn't flip the sign, I just flipped the whole order right here. So to draw that on a number line up here, if 8 is here, then I put a circle at 8, and because it is equal to 8, I can close that circle. And I just shade everything to the right. Draw my arrow and it'll just keep going. Everything to the right. And one more. So this is one that's like today's notes. So I have a -3 that's multiplying to my x. So to get rid of multiplication, we have to divide. But because I'm dividing by a negative number, my sign is going to flip. Don't forget about that. And 2 negatives make a positive. So my answer is +5. So on a number line, I need to go in that direction, right? Facing the way that this symbol looks. So I need to start at 5, and because it is less than or equal to, I need to circle that and fill that in. And then I need to go this way. Right? Everything less than. So that's how I'll do that on the number line. Again, sorry those are so horribly drawn. This mouse is not that easy to work with. So that's how you work on those examples. And there's the answers that we got. Oh, I'm scrolling too fast. All right, so your homework, so to speak, is going to be these problems. So we have division happening here, which means you'll have to multiply. Division here, which means you'll have to multiply. Addition, which means you'll subtract. Division, which means you'll multiply. And the answers are below. So those 4 I've written on a piece of paper for you. But you can watch this video and see how we did these previous problems. What did we do to solve them to help you out? And then work on your problems for today. And that's all that you've got. Thank you guys so much for watching.